Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now we're taking a look at Dent, which is Dent Wireless. It's a pretty awesome community that we have on Telegram. If you want to reference that, of course, that's in the description below. But they're all very big fans of Dent, and this is a pretty fan favorite, if you will. So just keep that in mind. While going into this, there's a big following for Dent. So if you're not already invested, maybe consider doing so. It appears to be a really good project, but we're not here for the fundamentals. We're here for the technical data only. So always do your own research going into an investment, but we really just only look at the charts and make sure you can make an informed decision on that side of things. Because I have years of experience and I want to make sure to bring that to the table and help you out as best as possible. So you will learn some things here today. I hope you're prepared for that. Also know I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. There's a link in the description below for, again, our Telegram community and $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager, as well as a Patreon account if you'd like to check that out. But for now, let's go ahead and just get right to the business here. We'll check it out. Let's get to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Dent. Dent Wireless, back at it again. We'll see what's going on with Dent. I've got a lot of requests for this one recently, so thank you to my community for reaching out and letting me know you need some insight. I haven't touched it in a little while just based on the simple fact that it seems to be in a consolidation phase, but the longer these phases take, the more likely there is for a breakout, so perhaps we'll see something like that soon. For now, we'll go ahead and take a look at, Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to get kind of an understanding of what's going on in the general market. And if you've been following Bitcoin or watched my videos, you'll kind of know what's going on right now. Bitcoin's in a state of indecision still, in between 57,000 and 53,300. It is above 57,000 right now, trending above, which is awesome, the 200-day moving average currently. But I'm not getting my hopes up because look at this. 1.5 days and lost. One day lost. 1.5 days lost. So I mean, I'm just kind of tired of this back and forth. Figure it out, Bitcoin, and just go up already, right? I think we're all probably thinking the same thing. But until we see further confirmation, I would say at least 2 or 3 solid green days above and beyond that support level, then we shouldn't expect to see the price continue to go up at all. It'll probably just go back down again. Either way, good news is here, check this out. The 50 and 200-day moving averages are coming together, because if you see here, the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, they're both working as strong support levels right now. So when they combine, if you don't know this already, when two support levels combine, especially moving averages, they work as kind of like a super support or resistance. In this case, a support. So we're hoping that that'll continue to push the price up. So if the moving average goes this way, maybe the price will go that way too. That'd be awesome. Either way, that is what Bitcoin looks like right now. And again, this is a 4-hour chart. I don't know if I prefaced that, I forget, but I always like to look at the 4-hour chart because the moving averages are the most relevant. Looking at Ethereum here, moving averages are not really relevant right now because of the price going diagonal, but the 50-day moving average, this yellow line here, will likely work as either a strong support or resistance line soon, as it has in the past. So we'll see what happens there, but as you can see, just got some indecision here from Bitcoin. Bitcoin price went up, more indecision because it keeps going up and down. People don't really know what to do, and they're investing most of their coins or their money in altcoins essentially. This is still an altcoin, but of course it's like the largest altcoin there. And in case you don't know too, when Bitcoin goes south, people just jump ship and go right straight to Ethereum. But with Ethereum having a state of indecision, it's likely why all the other altcoins are kind of slowly increasing, if you've noticed that. Which is good for us, right? We're typically investing in altcoins, which is why we're here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the altcoin, which is Dent in this case. And you'll see kind of a lot of, it's a bit messy, I apologize, but this is from a few reviews. I'm leaving those there for now because it does look like there's a pretty strong support and resistance channel right now that's forming. So I'm excited to see that break out. But let's look at the 1-day chart first, okay? Always work our way top to bottom just so we know what's going on. And looking at the 50-day moving average here, that sticks out to me the most. That's this yellow line here. It is presently a resistance level, so it could be a potential resistance line. I don't put a lot of weight in the 1-day moving averages. Personally, I prefer the 4-hour chart. We'll look at that next. But just know that it has worked as a support and resistance level recently. And the 100-day moving average was tested and rejected. That was on the 22nd. That was like the second major sell-off from Bitcoin. Also bear in mind the first major sell-off from Bitcoin is this guy right here, the 17th. So I feel like Dent would be in much better shape right now, as well as many other coins, of course. But if Bitcoin hadn't done its, I call it D-Day, its destructive force of moving like what 15% in a 12-hour period, we'd probably be in much better shape right now with Dent. But there's kind of some indecision too, based on just overall how Bitcoin's been acting lately. The last 5 days of Bitcoin has been kind of terrible, so it's no surprise to see the price being where it's at. But good news is it's very affordable, and if you haven't invested already, this might be a decent opportunity, because I do think there's tons of potential in Dent, but that's just me personally thinking out loud. Don't listen to that. Moving on, let's look at the moving averages. Correction, the RSI and MACD, pretty much what is expected, both right in the middle, hanging out, nothing going on. So again, there's that in combination with lower volume overall. So I think we're likely to see some type of breakout in the near future, maybe not super soon, but hopefully within the next week or less. But let's see what the charts tell us. That's the 1 day. Let's go to the 4 hour. This is the one that looks a little messier here, but we'll just note a couple of things first. RSI is in good shape, right in the middle essentially. Same thing with the MACD. Just two flat lines waiting to make a decision. So neither bullish nor bearish, neither oversold or overbought. Normal for this time. So I kind of like that personally, because I prefer to take entry in scenarios like this when other indications kind of speak to me. And this might have some of those. We'll see here in a moment. But I don't see a lot. So what we should probably do now is just kind of extend these support and resistance lines, because this worked as a previous support level. Now it's likely a resistance. Definitely resistance. Look at that. Wow. Tested a lot. Okay. Same thing here too. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't heard me say this before, it's when you test a support level, for example, just say we test this support level here almost 10 times. I don't know, it seems like a lot, right? The more often you test a support level, for example, then when it breaks support and becomes a resistance line, it's that much stronger of a resistance line. Okay, so the more times it's tested, the more likely it's going to be broken. Once it is broken, the stronger it becomes as an inverse, essentially. So in this case here, it's hard to really identify what's going to happen, because it's testing both support and resistance lines. So for example, what is it, 0.0093, and basically I think that's 1 cent, right? Yeah, so just say 1 cent down to 0.0093. We've got this little channel that's working into. It's tested both sides just as much as the other. So it's truly hard to understand and to identify which direction it's going to break out. But what we can do is look at some other patterns too and see kind of how it's working out. It's hard to identify because with this sell-off right here, this is when Bitcoin had a recent major sell-off. It went down like 4,000 or 5,000 in like an hour or something. So this is why there's a major sell-off right here. So I kind of feel, based on the overall sentiment here, if Bitcoin can stay over 57,000 for just say 2 more days, then we will see the price increase back up. And let's just go ahead and mark this here, because this isn't super relevant, this indication here, because I don't put a lot of weight into just say wedge patterns. But here, actually, let's move that down a little better. But there is a possibility that it might, take a few more days to consolidate, and therefore we might have a breakout in the next maybe I would say a week, I guess. This is a worst case scenario. Again, I don't put a lot of weight into these wedge patterns personally, but oftentimes when it works, when a coin, a currency, stock, whatever works itself into a wedge, there's likely going to be a breakout in the opposite direction. So commonly when you see a wedge forming downward like this, it usually breaks support and becomes resistance and goes down further. However, the overall sentiment of how Bitcoin is performing, if it can continue to increase and just stay above 57,000, somewhere in the range of 57 to 60, then I feel like that will do the inverse and it'll break upwards. But we just want to make sure to kind of be aware of the fact that it is under the 50-day moving average right now. That's this yellow line. And the price is actually technically under the 100-day moving average too. So if you combine that as well as the fact that there's a resistance level, we got a little bit of ground to cover. So if it can break this support and the 50-day moving average and hold above for no less than just say 4 hours, maybe possibly I'd much rather see 8 hours, then we'll see an upward momentum, an upward shift. So a lot of ifs and potential question marks right now. We really can't diagnose specifically because normally the state of indecision has more indicators telling us. But to me, with Dent being so reliant on Bitcoin, whatever happens to Bitcoin will literally happen to this, right? So if we see an increase of Bitcoin, it goes up to 60,000, just say, and it stays above, then heck yes, we're going to see Dent come back alive. But if Bitcoin sells off again and does another stupid sell-off the way it's been doing lately, it's pretty safe to say the price will come down and this will become a resistance line. So that's kind of just what I'm seeing here from the technical data. Because again, RSI tells us nothing, MACD tells us nothing. Volume is pretty much just at a steady increase, decrease, increase, decrease. It's not a lot to extract here. Either way, let's look at the 15, see if there's anything more we can identify. But really just a nice channel of nothingness. Yeah. And as you can see, look, there's nothing happening with the RSI 2. Once it peaks over, of course, that was one little increase there. It tried to break out, couldn't. Basically just shows that bears are still in control. So, we're going to need to see some kind of shift in momentum on Bitcoin to have any type of positive impact on Dent. I mean, good news is the price is staying above. I mean, with Bitcoin, we're, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 hours now, and the price has stayed above the support level, and we have that 50-day moving average coming to intersect here soon. So I would pay, if I were you and you're investing in Dent, pay close attention to what happens with Bitcoin in the next 24 hours, because if this 50-day moving average can work as a support line and continue to work its way up, we're going to be in really good shape for Dent to come alive. Okay. So again, not much else we can really look at. Fibonacci retracement tool wouldn't do any good for us right now. RSI MACD is kind of just, again, at a standstill for the 4-hour and the 1-day charts. So I really just think that you want to pay attention to Bitcoin, see what happens with that, because that is essentially the catalyst that drives Dent recently, more specifically. But if we see some good green days from Bitcoin, I would prepare for Dent to come alive. So that being said, as soon as we see confirmation from Bitcoin that's holding above here, that would be a good time to invest in Dent. Me personally, I don't think that Dent can go much lower. I mean, obviously it can, don't get me wrong. We know that, we see that it happened. But this, if you look at these numbers here, what is it? This is the 17th probably, right? Yep. First major sell-off from Bitcoin right there. Second major sell-off on the 22nd from Bitcoin came to his all-time low of a very affordable 0.005. That's great. That's good. However, now that Bitcoin is kind of stabilized, we see the price coming back up. And this little ramp up here was when Bitcoin was coming up. This consolidation period here is when Bitcoin was consolidating. So you can kind of see a direct correlation. So I just say pay attention to that, be aware of it, and understand that just trading Dent alone or looking at Dent alone doesn't do you any good. Look at Bitcoin and understand more specifically what that's doing, because that allows Dent to come back alive. So I probably sound like a broken record by now, apologize, but I just want to kind of drive that home and let you know that there's not a ton of information here to extract, except for the fact that Bitcoin is essentially driving the price. So if you see Bitcoin come up to just say 58, 59, or 60,000, and it breaks these support levels here, correction, the resistance level of 1 cent, and stays above for 30, 60 minutes, that would be a case in point where I would want to take entry, because then I would have the right indicators there. I doubt the RSI is going to be up high for any time soon. So that's kind of what I'd recommend there. So just be careful, wait for confirmation, of course, as per usual, but I would just pay close attention to Bitcoin and see what's happening there first. All right, that's enough. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Appreciate you coming here and checking this out, and please feel free to reference other videos as well. Join the Telegram and let me know your thoughts. Be happy to communicate with you there if we haven't already. Really awesome group of people there. But again, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.